Hello, first tonight, why two police officers were told they'd broken the law simply by looking after each other's children.
Ofsted says the arrangement between Leanne Shepherd and Lucy Jarrett contravened the Childcare Act. No money changed hands, but inspectors say it was still a benefit and the women should have been registered as childminders. This report from Mike Cartwright.
Looking after each other's daughter was their solution to balancing work with home. But police officers Leanne Shepherd and Lucy Jarrett say they had no idea it was illegal until an Ofsted inspector knocked on the door.
She said that she'd had a report that I was illegal childminding. I thought it must be a mistake. Someone had, obviously seen Amy being dropped off or something and thought it was something other than what it was. So I invited her in and explained the situation and was really surprised when she said, "You're doing illegal, it's illegal."
All we were doing was quite simply returning to work and as mothers deciding who was best to look after our child. Leanne and I are friends outside of work and we trust each other. And if as a mother we can't make that decision of who's going to look after our child, that just seems wrong.
Ofsted wrote to the women, threatening them with prosecution. They say the arrangement constituted receiving a reward, even though no money changed hands. The government have called for the case to be reviewed. Ofsted told us, "We are currently discussing with the Department for Children, Schools and Families the interpretation of the word reward in the legislation to establish if we might be able to make a change."
No, OK.
Lindsay Marriott's a registered childminder in Milton Keynes. She says the rules are in place to protect children.
It's a bit unfair, I think, because obviously there are parents out there who will arrange to share childcare with their friends. But the law's there for the child safety, really, because although these police officers are probably CRB checked, a lot of people aren't CRB checked.
So what do these mothers in Norwich think?
Why pay extortionate childminding fees when two friends can work it out between them?
I'm from Norway myself originally, and in Norway the rules in regards to childminding is not as, I would say, paranoid as it is here.
Leanne and Lucy's daughters are now in nurseries, but they still want the rules revised to help other working mothers. Mike Cartwright, BBC Look East, Milton Keynes.
And if you're a parent or a childminder with a story to tell, we'd love to hear from you. You can phone 08457 630 630, or of course you can email via the website at bbc.co.uk/lookeast. The people who run Stansted Airport, BAA, have spent £90 million buying up hundreds of homes around the airport. Look East has discovered it's been so successful, only a handful of properties along the route of the proposed second runway are still in private hands.
This is Stansted's existing boundary, and this would be the new boundary if a second runway got the go-ahead. The public inquiry might have been delayed, but already BAA owns all but 6 properties in this zone. And it's also agreed to buy homes in a wider area because they're affected by aircraft noise. So in all, we estimate that the airport now owns around 270 properties. This report is from Alex Dunlop.
3 homeowners in the shadow of Stansted. Paul, who's selling, Colin's buying, and the Welchers won't move. After 42 years here, Paul Righelli's had enough. He's selling up to BAA. Many of his neighbours in Takeley have already done it.
It is just this feeling of impermanence now and this sort of feeling of creeping blight. The properties become slightly unkempt. They're obviously not cared for in the way that an owner might care for them.
Well, some like Paul sell, others like Colin are buying, now the proud owner of this historic hall. But what about the second runway?
I believe it's not going to happen. So, if it does happen, then I'm going to have neighbours as airplanes. Who gives them monkeys, really? I enjoy the house, I love the house, and I love the area, so I don't believe it's going to happen.
You don't think there'll be a runway?
No, I don't. No way.
John and Rosemary are one of 6 still holding out. Their home would be inside the new perimeter. If the runway got the go-ahead, they would be forced to move out.
Well, we just feel determined not to give in, really, but you don't want to actually move out and get, at our age, we don't want to start again.
But there may never be a second runway. Because Stansted is up for sale, a public inquiry has been put on hold. But undeterred, BAA is still buying up local property. cost so far £90 million. This 16th century Grange would be demolished and rebuilt outside the boundary at BAA's expense. But some say its regard for half-timbered homes is half-hearted.
Are you saying that BAA are bad landlords?
They've shown us what they really think about our architectural heritage. They've left buildings vacant for long periods of time, they've carried out some illegal work, and they've been very slow to carry out some essential maintenance in many cases as well.
Paul Holmes thinks that's unfair. He's just sold his pub at Molehill Green to BAA.
A lot of the properties around here actually need some work doing on them, you know, and the tenants actually do that themselves. And you know, I've been a tenant of BAA in a property for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've done a lot of work on the house, and you know, the rent is actually set against the amount of work that needs doing.
BAA wouldn't go on camera, but it told us it had committed millions to protect local property values, ensuring people are treated fairly, and that it was in everyone's interests for properties to be kept in the best possible order.
All sides would agree that BAA is a very reluctant landlord, and with the prospect of a second runway now mothballed, there's still no resolution and still a great deal of uncertainty. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East, Stansted Airport.
Oil being transferred between ships off the coast of Suffolk could soon be stopped. It comes after Look East revealed that Southwold is the only place in England where tankers can fill their fuel tanks without going into port. Critics claim it's an accident waiting to happen.
Last month, Look East took to the waters off Southwold to film up close the teams transferring oil from ship to ship. The area has been described as a huge floating chemical compound.
Our temperature of our cargo is roughly 24.
Some are smaller vessels from the Baltic looking to link up with larger supertankers. Others are simply anchored up and waiting for the price of oil to rise. The local MP John Gummer voiced his worries, and after discussions with the Transport Secretary, Lord Adonis, and his team, it seems everything could change.
They are now going to act quickly, pulling together the departments responsible. I hope before the end of the year they will be making it extremely difficult for people to transfer any kind of cargo at sea.
The aim is to see all transfers taking place in port. It's not a new idea. Officials sought views on changing the law more than a year ago. But it does seem what's happening at Southwold, with more vessels and more transfers than ever, has given it greater impetus.
Absolutely delighted, but with the usual sort of caveats that we need to see exactly if it goes through and how effective the monitoring is. But at the moment, it's just looking like very, very good news indeed.
The industry's adamant that transfers at sea are tightly regulated, incredibly safe, and bring much-needed business to the area. They argue the tankers are simply too big for the ports to handle, and the idea is unworkable. But John Gummer believes it is the way forward, and time is of the essence.
The danger of having an accident is so great that the quicker we do it, the better.
He believes if the government can get things in place, the ship-to-ship transfers could stop within months. Kevin Birch, BBC Look East, in Southwold.
Later in